This is Murder Media, your destination for true crime cases. And tonight, we will be narrating the story of Michael Severance, the dark secret behind a soldier's disappearance, in this series on catching a killer.
Good evening, I'm Ethan Blackwood, and welcome to Murder Media. Tonight, we will be reciting the chilling story of Michael Severance, a decorated Air Force Staff Sergeant who survived the horrors of war, only to be betrayed and murdered in the comfort of his own home. But first, here's a statistic that might shock you. Studies show that approximately 14% of male homicide victims are killed by an intimate partner or spouse, compared to around 30% of female homicide victims. This tragic reality sets the stage for tonight's story, a haunting reminder that sometimes the greatest danger comes from those we trust the most. Michael Severance grew up in Lee, Maine, a small town near the Canadian border. He was a natural athlete, excelling at skiing and anything that involved wheels. Known for his quiet determination, Michael was a man of few words, but strong convictions. After graduating high school, his father encouraged him to explore the world beyond their small town. Unlike his father before him, Michael chose to serve his country. Joining the United States Air Force, Michael quickly distinguished himself, rising through the ranks to become a crew chief on a C-130 military transport aircraft. His service included 5 deployments, 3 of which were in direct support of the global war on terror in Afghanistan. Michael was no stranger to danger, but the horrors of war never shook his resolve. He was a man dedicated to his duty, loyal to his comrades, and driven by a deep sense of purpose. After years of service overseas, Michael was reassigned to Dyess Air Force Base in Abilene, Texas. The northeastern native found an unexpected love for the Lone Star State, embracing the local culture with open arms. He learned to line dance, mastered the two-step, and quickly adapted to the slower pace of life in Texas. But it wasn't just the state that captured his heart. In 2003, Michael met Wendy Mae Davidson, a vibrant and energetic veterinarian from San Angelo. Wendy had grown up on a ranch, surrounded by the rugged beauty of Texas, and she shared Michael's love for animals and the outdoors. Despite their differences, Michael, the reserved northeasterner, and Wendy, the outgoing Texan, the two were quickly drawn to each other. Wendy's life before meeting Michael was marked by her determination to succeed. She had attended Texas A&M University, where she pursued her dream of becoming a veterinarian. Wendy enjoyed the freedom of college life, and despite the challenges of being a single mother after an unplanned pregnancy, she managed to graduate and establish a successful veterinary practice. She was known for her work ethic and her dedication to her patients, but beneath the surface, there was a darker side to her story. Just a few months into their whirlwind romance, Wendy became pregnant with Michael's child. Although the pregnancy came as a surprise, Michael was thrilled at the prospect of becoming a father. His brother, Frank, recalled how excited Michael was to start a family, describing him as someone who really loved kids. In September 2004, mere weeks after the birth of their son, Michael and Wendy married in a quiet ceremony at a Texas courthouse. They moved into an apartment behind the veterinary clinic that Wendy had recently purchased, and it seemed like the perfect start to their new life together. But beneath the surface, tensions were brewing. Michael's family, still in Maine, had yet to meet Wendy and the baby. Plans were made for the Severances to visit Texas in early 2005, where they hoped to welcome Wendy and their new grandson into the family. Everyone was excited, and a small wedding reception was planned to celebrate the couple's marriage. Michael's father, Leslie, even joked about how their eldest son was looking forward to seeing snow for the first time. But the trip was not meant to be. On January 16, 2005, just days before they were due to arrive in Maine, Wendy called Michael's family with disturbing news. Michael had disappeared. She claimed he had been drinking heavily, anxious about an upcoming deployment to Afghanistan, and had simply walked away, leaving behind his car and cell phone. The Severance family was immediately concerned. They urged Wendy to report him missing, but as the days passed, they couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The San Angelo Police Department launched an investigation, but early efforts yielded few clues. Wendy's story didn't add up, and Michael's family knew that he wasn't the type to just vanish. Desperate for answers, Leslie reached out to the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, OSI, a highly specialized unit with the resources to take on the case. The OSI began their investigation, digging into Michael's life and his relationships. They quickly discovered there was significant tension between Michael and his mother-in-law, Judy Davidson, who worked as an office manager at Wendy's veterinary clinic. Judy made no secret of her disdain for Michael, openly admitting that she never liked him. However, despite her animosity, there was no evidence linking her to Michael's disappearance. For weeks, the case remained cold. But on January 24th, when Michael failed to return to base, the OSI officially took the lead. They began by searching the couple's home and Wendy's veterinary clinic, where they uncovered a disturbing piece of evidence. Wendy had performed internet searches on polygraph tests and the decomposition of a body in water. Sensing they were close to a breakthrough, the OSI placed a GPS tracker on Wendy's car. They noticed she frequently visited a large livestock ranch outside of town, owned by a family friend. During one visit, Wendy stopped near a pond on the property. While an initial search of the pond turned up nothing, the OSI was undeterred. They pressed Wendy during an interview, asking pointed questions about her internet searches and her visits to the ranch. Wendy became defensive, particularly when the pond was mentioned. That evening, Wendy's brother contacted the police, revealing a shocking confession. After being confronted by authorities, Wendy admitted to him and their parents that she had dumped Michael's body in the pond. However, she insisted she hadn't killed him. According to Wendy, she had found Michael dead and, panicked, decided to dispose of his body. The next morning, Michael Severance's body was recovered from the bottom of the pond. It had been nearly 2 months since he was reported missing, but his body was eerily well preserved. Investigators quickly realized why Michael had been stabbed 41 times after death, in a gruesome attempt to prevent his body from floating to the surface. To further ensure it stayed submerged, Wendy had weighed it down with car parts, tires, and cinder blocks. The autopsy revealed the true cause of death. Michael's blood contained lethal levels of animal tranquilizers, drugs to which Wendy had easy access through her veterinary clinic. With this damning evidence in hand, authorities charged Wendy Mae Davidson with first-degree murder and 2 counts of tampering with evidence. Facing the overwhelming evidence, Wendy chose to plead no contest rather than risk a jury trial. In October 2006, she was sentenced to 25 years in prison. To this day, she maintains her innocence, insisting that she did not kill Michael. According to the Texas Department of Corrections, Davidson remains incarcerated in the William P. Hobby Unit. The records show that her release date is October 15, 2031. Meanwhile, Michael's son is being raised by Wendy's parents, but he spends school breaks and holidays with the Severance family in Maine. Michael's family continues to grapple with the unanswered questions surrounding his death. They believe there is more to the story, more to Wendy's motive that remains hidden. There are numerous resources and outreach programs available to help military active duty and veterans, so please, if you or someone you know is in need, you can always reach out to these organizations. The Veterans Crisis Line, a confidential helpline for veterans in crisis, at 1-800-273-8255 and press 1. Also, there is the Headstrong Project, a place that provides mental health treatment specifically for post-9/11 veterans. For peer support and community programs, you can also reach out to via the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, and they provide advocacy and peer support for post-9/11 veterans as well. That's all for tonight. Remember, the most dangerous enemies are often those closest to us. Be captivated, terrified, and intrigued. Stay curious, stay brave, stay haunted. I'm Ethan Blackwood, signing off from Murder Media. Thank you for watching.